If you're looking for a unique experience, the Niagara Falls Museum is hosting a one-of-a-kind evening that the public is invited to in January. So Sarah, we're standing here in the amazing Niagara Falls Museum. You actually have a great evening coming up. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we have a tour coming up that's a behind-the-scenes touch tour in the museum, and that's on January 19th. It's a Thursday night, a free night, and it starts at 7 o'clock.
Now actually it's going to be a really fun evening because the public actually gets to interact with some of your artifacts.
Yeah, so for the first time we're finding the more durable artifacts that, with some great stories that people will be able to handle and interact with.
Sarah, so let's head downstairs to where you normally work and where the tour will begin.
Excellent, we'll get going.
So Sarah, here are a few of the things that people will have an opportunity to touch during the touch tour. Tell me what we're seeing here.
Well, these are some of the things that I've weeded out with really neat stories and that are durable enough for people to handle, and they're really interesting to touch. So here we have a medal from the War of 1812 era with some images on it that people can touch. There's the river that runs through, and beaver representing Canada on one side. So that's kind of a neat smaller item. And then also, this is kind of unique. It's a little rough looking, but this is, holding I'll let you hold that. It's wow. Holding a piece of history, daredevil history. So that's a part of a cable that Stephen Pierre used to walk over the rapids at Niagara Falls. So some really special moments in history that people can handle.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Do you spend a lot of your time here?
I spend a lot of time here, yeah, documenting everything that comes into the museum and into the collection. So when an object comes in, I write down a description of it to track it, photograph it. It all goes on the internet in our collections database, and then people around the world can see what is in the collection here and ask more questions or come in and see things for research if they need to.
So Sarah, now we're standing inside the collections room, which is going to be part of the tour. First thing I noticed when I walked in here is the temperature change. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
It's to care for the artifacts. So we have a number of items made of different materials, and it's better for everything if we keep it a little bit cooler, keep the humidity and everything constant. And then it was also dark when we came in, and that's another thing that protects artifacts. Light damage is something that we want to control. So this is a very controlled room to preserve the artifacts for as long as we can. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, since it is a controlled room, how are you going to control the flow of people coming in for the tour?
We're going to stay together, so it's a lot like museum tours when you were a kid. We all stay together, and it's hands off unless I hand you something and we have our gloves on, and then we handle the artifacts together.
So now we're upstairs and into another part of the collection, and I don't need to wear gloves for this part.
Right.
So what is going to happen at this part of the tour?
So on this part of the tour, there's a couple of stops that we will make, and one is at the Native Case. And this is one of the stops in one of our education programs. We've developed a program with 6 nations called Discovering Ganada, and through that program we were able to get reproductions of some of the artifacts on display made so that we can have things to hand around to children to touch and to connect with. So this purse is a reproduction of this one here. And it was made by Naomi Smith, who is an artist, a Six Nations artist. So that's kind of special because you do get to have the gloves off.
Do you have any favorite pieces here in the museum?
Everything is my favorite. It's really hard to pick, but definitely some of the things that we've talked about here and through this tour are some of my favorites. That's why I picked them. So I'm excited to share them with people.
The Behind the Scenes Touch Tour will take place Thursday, January 19th, starting at 7 p.m. Come out and put history in the palm of your hand. In Niagara Falls, reporting for The Source, I'm Lori Charaba.